What is up and how's it going? Welcome back to another edition of the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. We got a recap episode for you today, and it's a Super Bowl edition. We have a lot of news to cover today. We got Super Bowl, like I said. We got head coaching search info for the Saints, finally. And we got major, and I mean major NBA trades. I am your host, Tyler, as always, here with my two co-hosts. We got Shane O'Mac. Shane, how you doing today?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. Can't complain. And then I got my other host, the steady of the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. We got Joey. Joey, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, man, this Super Bowl has kicked my ass. I am glad it's almost over, saying that as someone who is responsible for some of the graphics that you see around the city of New Orleans. Yeah, that was rough.
I can only imagine, man.
I'm glad to have finally gotten some normal sleep for once.
That's good, man. That's good. Yeah, you're on the tail end of it, man. On the tail end of it. The
Red Bull's a powerful drug.
Oh yeah, you can't hate on the caffeine. That's for dang sure, man. Well, gentlemen, let's just jump right into it. We have the big game. We have the Kansas City Chiefs going for the three-peat, playing the Philadelphia Eagles. And as of right now, time of recording, the day before the Super Bowl, the current odds are the current spread is Kansas City's a 1.5-point favorite. And it's essentially a pick 'em when you go to the money line. So, Shane, what's your thoughts on the game right now, buddy?
Yeah, I feel like it's a toss-up. I feel like if Spagnuolo can get creative and slow down that rushing attack and force them to throw, then Kansas City could win that game. If they can't contain Saquon, I think the Eagles might have too much for them. So I'm kind of torn. I'm just going to lean towards the Chiefs going for the three-peat. You know, the Chiefs and the refs winning the game.
I'm glad you said that before I jump to me and Joey's conclusions on this game. I'm glad you brought up the refs. It was an inevitable conversation. I do love all the talks we've been having, like all the questions that have been asked during media day and everything like that. I will say the one that cracked me up the most, Patrick Mahomes had a really good answer and kind of deflected it really well. The one that got me was Travis Kelce one. He's like, "Hey, media, why are y'all playing into this? What is in the story? Y'all are smarter than this." It's like, homie, come on, bro. Like, when the NFL, like as in Roger Goodell, have to address it, when the NFL Referees Association has to come out and make a statement, a formal statement on it, and the fact that you have commentators, and I've said it time and time again, commentators during the game being like, "Oh, come on, that's just ridiculous," and you have guys that are former refs that are like, "Yeah, I wouldn't have called that." Look, something's got to give. When there's smoke, there's fire, and it's just so freaking obvious. And I'm so tired of these national pundits being like, "Well, that's just everybody's just being conspiracy theorists," and blah blah. No, guys, the proof's in the pudding, and it's on freaking tape for hundreds of millions of people to see. Stop spitting in my face and tell me it's raining, right?
I wish everybody got this upset when they screwed the Saints with the it was a helmet to helmet and a pass interference in the NFC Championship.
Oh no, we got called crybaby.
Besides here, no one else in the national media really seemed to care about it. So, but because it's Mahomes, I guess they're a little paying more attention to it.
Well, in all fairness, too, this has been over multiple years now. Like, it's not just one play; it's multiple like instances of it. But Joey, I mean, what's your thoughts on it, man?
I mean, it's the two teams that everyone said this is going to be the Super Bowl. You know, the question's going to be: can the Chiefs stop the tush push? Can the refs actually make a call against the Chiefs? I've seen a stat that I think in 11 straight games, the Chiefs have had less penalties than their opponent. I'm just hoping that it's a game that we'll talk about how good the game was and not a controversial call or no call. I do have a couple stats if y'all are interested about this game.
Fire
away. In this century, every time the Super Bowl has been played between two teams that include one traveling east and one traveling west, the team traveling west has won. Okay? So, for example, you had in 2002, the Super Bowl was here. The Rams had to travel east and the Patriots had to travel west. Patriots won. 2003, the Raiders had to travel east. The Buccaneers had to travel west. The Bucs won. And the same goes for the Steelers in Detroit in 06, the Steelers in Tampa in 09, the Ravens in New Orleans in 13.
Okay, I
Patriots.
feel like
You
I feel
get
like
the point.
you're cherry picking stats
You
at
get the
that
point.
point, though. I'm just saying.
I'm just reading
No,
the stat.
Oh no! I agree, but when you
It's
start
every-
skipping multiple years, it's
But
like
it's not that it's when you look at the Super Bowls, it's one team had to travel west, one team had to travel east. In other Super Bowls, it's been both teams have traveled west to the Super Bowl, both teams have traveled east to the Super Bowl. Giants and Patriots in Arizona, they both traveled west.
I got you.
So that's what that stat is trying to say. The other stat
So
that
that
I have,
would, if I understood that, that would mean the Eagles are primed to win.
yes,
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes is 17-0 in his last one score games. Patrick Mahomes has also played a season's worth of playoff games where he would probably have won MVP because he has 6,138 total yards, 50 total touchdowns, and 8 interceptions.
Well, when you play a full season
Yeah.
worth of games.
And then also, here's where, that traveling west, traveling east stat could get to the Eagles. No team has ever won the Super Bowl in the same season they lost to Kirk Cousins as a starter.
Okay.
So if you go based off of history of dumb stats that typically can be right, it's a toss-up. It should be a really good game. I'm hoping for a high-scoring game. When we talk about bets later, I'll explain why. But I've as we've gotten closer to the game, I've gotten a little more like, okay, I'm ready to watch it for sure.
So I'm gonna.
I will not be watching it.
Oh, we know. Over in Biloxi and just chilling out, man. But
That's it.
I respect it. So I'm gonna stick with stats. Those are amazing stats. I'm gonna stick with what I see on the field and I can quantify. So thinking about it. Offensive line, I give the edge to the Eagles. Defensive line, I give the edge to the Eagles. It's not a big one, but I give the edge to the Eagles. I understand you got Chris Jones on that side. Karlaftis has looked good. I just think that Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis provide more of an oomph. And here's another thing that's going to be really key. Jalen Carter can get after the quarterback, and he can attack gaps, and he's one of the best in the league at doing it. What they're going to have to do is keep Mahomes in the pocket, though. And what that means is that, look, they aren't great pass rushers that they have on their team, but they have guys that can clean up after the middle of the line collapses. So that's where I'm going to see is really going to be key for them stopping the passing game. And then, like Shane said, if you're Kansas City, excuse me, if you're Kansas City, your main goal is stopping Saquon, but also don't discount the fact that A.J. Brown could be a major X factor in this game. I don't know if they decide to load the box one-on-one. I don't know if that's the game you want to play against the Eagles. It only takes one or two shot plays for them to really take the top off your defense and make you have to honor it, right? So I'm going to predict I'll just give my predictions here and we'll start talking with the bets. I'm going to go with the Eagles to win and save us from a three-peat. I think talent's going to win over this time, being that they've lost to him before. And yeah, that has something to do with it. I feel like it's going to be a little extra oomph there. And just going with the old adage, you win games through the lines. And that's where it's going to be won. I think with all the attention being put on the refs, I think they're actually going to hold the flags a lot this game. Look, we're all entitled to our opinion, but I'm just saying, look, when you have a spotlight on you, you don't want to do it again, right? Like Shane was saying earlier, if all the attention was on the no call that happened to us, if they would have had another call very similar in the Super Bowl, you best believe they would have called that instantly because you don't want to get called with your pants down twice. So I really think they're going to probably hold the flags this time just to escape that narrative. But let's get into it now.
Since you're going with the Eagles, I just saw this morning. I just curious. Do you have any concern with them? Apparently, a whole bunch of them are fighting this flu that's going around. Any concern about those guys being sick leading up to the game?
Look, they're gonna have enough IVs and stuff to pump them full of it. Yeah, I mean, to get them up to snuff to be able to play. I mean, unless they're running 110 fever, I have a feeling they'll be out there. But yeah, it's definitely a concern. It's just, my stance on the Eagles all season. There's been some questionable play calling. The talent, they are one of the most talented teams in the league. And it's really funny though if you think about it though, Shane. We've talked ad nauseum about the Eagles. You've always been on the stance that you don't trust the coaching as much, right? And I've always been on the stance that the talent is going to win out. If you look at Kansas City, don't get me wrong, they're talented, but man, they scheme everything to a T, and coaching has a lot to do with it. So it's almost like tale of two different teams, right? And that's what's really kind of intriguing me for this game. But gentlemen, y'all ready to just jump into the bets since we're talking about it?
Sure.
So since I'm talking, I'll just go first. Like I said, I'm going with the Eagles, and I'm going to play contrarian to Joey. I'm going with the under right now. At time of recording, it is currently 48.5. I have a feeling we're going to see like a 24-17, 24-20 kind of game. But that's just my opinion. We'll circle back around to my touchdown picks and everything like that. I just have a feeling they're going to run the ball. Both teams like to run the ball, play defense. There's going to be a feeling out period. You know that. I just don't see either one of the defenses giving up that much ground. Yeah. Who wants to go first?
I will show you the parlay I did right here.
Okay.
So
holy
Jalen Hurts.
moly.
Yeah, I'm one of those. Like I said, I'm not stupid, but I like rocks. That's how I bet. At least for this Super Bowl. So Jalen Hurts over 225 passing yards. Also an anytime touchdown scorer. Saquon anytime touchdown scorer. Jalen Hurts over 40 yards rushing. Patrick Mahomes 250 plus passing yards. Kareem Hunt and Xavier Worthy anytime touchdown scores. And Travis Kelce 5+ receptions. And I picked the Eagles money line because, typically when you have a rematch in the Super Bowl, except for the 49ers and the Chiefs, it typically goes a little bit different than the first time. And I think when they played each other the first time, you had a very inexperienced team in the Eagles showing up to the Super Bowl and maybe not laying the groundwork a little bit. I will say that having talked to some people within that have been dealing with the teams while doing work for the Super Bowl, the Chiefs to me just have this air about them of like being too proud. They're doing the Patriot thing where they're like, it's becoming the Patriot way. Like, we're proud of our organization. We're not doing anything. Like, the Eagles are sitting there living it up, doing everything, having parties that you have for a Super Bowl. So I think the Eagles are going to come in there a little more loose, not as tense. And they're just going to go in and have fun. And I think the way that they're going to have fun is they're going to score points. And it won't be as bad as the NFC Championship game, but they're going to continue that momentum going into the Superdome.
Gotcha. But
I mean, you might as well bet Jalen Hurts to be the MVP of that game because if he's throwing for 225 yards and rushing for 40, he's having the game of his life this year.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, bud. The thing that's gonna get you is the Saquon touchdowns. I actually think because he just doesn't score touchdowns. And the Kelce 5 reception scares me as well.
The Kelce 5 reception thing scared me after I had done it because I had Kelce for 5 receptions one time and he got 2.
Yeah, it's because all the hair product and Taylor Swift glitter is slowing him down this year.
If I had to, he might get some food poisoning at possibly a bad restaurant that Taylor Swift made him go to this week.
They were at a good restaurant last night. There's not. I don't
know anything about that. I don't know anything about that restaurant.
It's good.
But
Shane, where you at on this, bud?
You're good.
I'm going to lean to the over, but just slightly over. Like, I could see this game finishing 27-24, something like that, or 28. I agree with you that I think they're going to try running the ball a lot on both sides, playing defense, but I still think they're going to score some points. Once again, I'm struggling with this game. I have a free bet on Caesars that I want to make. It's a $150 bet. I have no idea. I'm leaning towards Kelsey scoring because he scores in the postseason. But other than that, I'm kind of up in the air on some things. Maybe I'll see how I feel in the morning. But I'm leaning towards the slightly over. Not. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think they might get over it. I saw the line moving. It's going down to 47.5, 49.5. So I could see it kind of hitting the over. It's going to be close.
Oh, I agree with you. I've seen that over under move a lot. Joey, what were you trying to say, buddy, before I cut you off? My bad, buddy.
I don't remember.
Well,
yeah,
it'll get back to you.
tired brain kicked in.
That's my bad, buddy. That's my bad on
You're
that
fine.
one. But yeah, so let's talk some touchdown scores. I already said how I don't think Saquon's going to score one. Jalen Hurts.
I think honestly Saquon might break one. Like there'll be, might be a thrown 40 and it'll just be somehow an assignment got missed or they just had really good blockers and he mowed the cornerback over and just kept going. Cuz he's good for those, every once in a while. So that's why I think he will score a touchdown. I know if they get close, they're not going to hand him the ball because they're going to do that tush push thing. So that's why I think like Jalen will score a touchdown. But
yeah, no, I think Jalen Hurts is your best bet. Look, Saquon is definitely an option to break one for sure. I'm just banking on that Spags is going to have them kind of like holding the edge, unlike what the Commanders did, and making sure that they are gap disciplined. That's why I think it may be a rough day for Saquon. My two picks, Jalen Hurts probably the most obvious one, so I don't want to go completely with that one. I'm gonna go AJ Brown, and I'm with Shane on this one. I'm gonna go Kelsey, just because I feel like I don't know if it's narrative based or whatever, but they're gonna try their dangest to get Taylor Swift on that screen as much as possible. So I think a touchdown would be fantastic. But seriously, so a few weeks back they had Caitlin Clark up there. What other person can they throw up there that has nothing to freaking do with football? Where they just be like, oh my God, get all these people that don't matter in our fan base. Anyway, I'm just being facetious. I really hope they lose to Kansas City and he retires in shame. Just because that's how much I'm over this whole narrative and how tone deaf Travis Kelce can be about, why y'all ask about the referees?
Anyway.
I think everyone's just suffering from Kelce fatigue.
Yeah.
Like that podcast they have, it's not a bad podcast.
No, I like his brother. Yeah. I like Jason way more than Travis, but anyway.
I don't know. I know people who don't like either of them.
You can't blame. This is the one thing I'll say. This is an NFL problem. It's not a Taylor Swift problem. The NFL is exposing her being at the games to make money, and they've shown the statistics of how much they've made. There's plenty of other celebrity girlfriends who go to the game and they don't show. So they're choosing to put this girl on the screen and exploit her relationship with one of their players.
It's funny you say that because I've had a conversation with a hardcore Taylor Swift fan, and I'm like, it's like they need to stop showing her, and they go, well, she's told them not to show her. It's like, okay, move sweets. Stop telling them where you're at.
It's
threaten a lawsuit.
It's too much money for the NFL.
There's ways you can. There's ways you can.
It's not
stop
her fault.
it.
No.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's ways
cameras everywhere in that stadium, Joey. Unless she stops going to the game, they're going to show her. She's made them over $1 billion. There is not. Unless she stops going to the game, she's made the NFL over $1 billion, and it's the NFL exploiting her. So people don't have to like her, but if I had a girlfriend who was famous and I was a professional football player, I'd want her at the game. If you work for a league that's going to exploit you, look what they've done it year in and year out with other situations. They're always going to try to make money. That's just what they're in. It's turned more into it's closer to wrestling now than it is sports to me.
Well, see, the thing is, and I completely agree, it's the NFL more than anything. But I mean, my goodness, at a certain point, it's just fatigue. it's just like so you have him. It's like Aaron Rodgers with his fucking back shit. It's like, dude, we don't care anymore. It's 2025. Like, stop victory lapping this like you were some kind of freaking hero for justice. You were just a jackass that didn't wear a mask. Like, stop acting and rub some fucking tree paste on your arm. Like, it's okay. But anyway, I digress. But it's just like, it's just fatigue overall. There's always going to be something in the NFL that they're going to exploit and overuse to run their narrative, right? And that's where I was basically going with that.
So
But-
let me ask you this question.
Uh,
Are you more fatigued with the Chiefs now or the Patriots when they were dominating?
I don't like right now. I don't hate
I
the
will forever
Chiefs.
be more fatigued with the Patriots.
Yeah. Like, I don't hate the Chiefs. Like, good on them. They're winning and everything like that. What I don't like is the refs. Like, look, I can respect greatness. And let's call it what it is. Getting real close, Buffalo fans. Y'all should have just won that game outright and not left it in the refs' hands 4 freaking times. Like, your secondary also couldn't cover Xavier Worthy worth anything. You could have had freaking a Black Hawk helicopter with GPS on that dude, and you still couldn't have covered him. And they exploited that. But there were some questionable stuff with the refs. But
Xavier
can't
Worthy
leave it
is
to
my
him.
anytime touchdown guy.
yeah, let's get back to it before I go on a rant. Shane, please go with your touchdown picks, my friend.
Xavier Worthy's my guy.
Oh, okay.
I was leaning towards. So just so you know, the guys you mentioned, I was leaning towards Hurts, Kelsey, Brown, and Worthy. So I just put
Okay.
it in. The $150 bet is in.
Oh,
Pays $4,950.
Wait, you did all of them?
I did all 4, baby. Go big or go home.
Special
I
Super
love
Bowl
it.
Sunday.
You can't cash out
Man.
on Caesars, so I don't even have to worry about it. I can't even access the app while I'm in Mississippi. So
Wait, you
let
can't
me know
even
if those
look at
4
the
guys
app
score.
in Mississippi?
I will let you know,
It's so
big dog.
crazy. It's so crazy in Mississippi. They have the FanDuel at the IP, but
Uh-huh.
you can't use the FanDuel app in Mississippi.
Oh,
You
so they
have
haven't
to go
done.
into the casino. They're not going to. They want you to go into the casino.
I get it.
to
Like,
that.
go spend your money. Like,
Yeah, it's
I
still
get it.
keeping the business in the casinos, which makes complete sense, and I understand that. But it's still
Yeah.
funny though, like you said, like they have it in there, but you just can't access it, right? But no, that's wild though. But I really hope that that it hits for you, buddy, for sure. Joey, is there anybody else you want to add to the
pretty
touchdown
fun.
bets?
I feel like Dallas Goddard might score. You know, they're within the red zone. He somehow gets open, or they're within the 10. They always
Oh, I
seem
mean,
to
you're
find him.
Basically, what you're saying is that it's kind of a dart throw after you get past the people we just mentioned.
Yeah,
Like-
pretty much. Like
Yeah,
after those
yeah.
people, you're just doing this. That guy. But Dallas Goddard has been known, like, they tore us apart with Dallas Goddard. Granted,
Yeah,
it was
but,
week 3, but
Yeah, but most people tear us apart with everybody because we suck and we're
mainly the tight ends.
Which, speaking of how
If you want to have a
of
fun
our,
bet, Noah Gray plus 500.
ooh, there we go. We got a Shane's fun one of the day. But guys, Joey, a nice little segue. I'm glad you brought up the Saints. I think we found a head coach, guys. I think we find a head coach. All the reports that are coming out is that unless something crazy happens, it looks like offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, Kellen Moore, will be your next head coach of your New Orleans Saints, which with that brings a lot of possibilities for change and I'm kind of excited for it, but don't get me wrong. The optics have been absolutely horrible during this coaching search, but I'm going to hold the faith right now in that Kellen Moore has gained the experience from coaching multiple different stops. You know, the guy's still in his 30s and he's had 3 different teams trust him to run their offense. So I'm going to keep the faith here. Unfortunately, I have a feeling we're going to keep Derek Carr. Everything I keep hearing is that the mindset is that we're not that far off and we're in a weak division. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to keep Carr for another year, but we shall see. I'm really interested to see what DCs he brings in with him and offensive staff. There's been a rumor that Nussmeier is coming with him, the older Nussmeier. So could we get Garrett Nussmeier for the quarterback? I've heard CNF thrown around in the next year's draft.
I did.
But
As we were recording, I got an alert from ESPN. Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano's names have been linked to. Oh no, never mind. I read that wrong. That's my bad.
not breaking news.
Yeah. No, there is breaking news. Two names heard as a possibility is Brandon Staley and George Edwards.
Where'd you get Brandon Fowler and something else? Like,
Because that's the
reporters.
insiders. Yeah, they broke the news on ESPN.
well, I mean, that's kind of obvious. I mean, he worked for Brandon Staley.
I went to say, hey, these guys broke it, and then it just my brain just brained and merged everything at once. So yeah,
But,
that's the look.
Yeah, no, I mean, but Shane, let me know what you're thinking about this hire.
I like the hire. I like the report I saw that he went to his Boise State recruiting with his own. At a young age, he built a whole playbook on his own. So, I mean, this guy's been playing around with this for a while. I think we've talked about going. Saints organization needs to go with a younger guy. You know, I've liked some of the DC names like Martindale, who's been linked. I know that was with Kafka, but I still like him if they can get him. I'm not too high on the organization right now, but from simply talking about a coaching hire, I think Kellen Moore would be good for the organization.
Oh yeah. I definitely think Brandon Staley or a strong present head DC would be good. But one thing I read is like a lot of people are like, oh well, can he inspire people? This like because he's kind of like a quieter demeanor guy. He's gonna win people over, like Nick Underhill said. Is like, oh hey, what play do you like in this playbook? Let's get you involved in the offense, decision making, everything like that. And we're gonna run what you like to run, and that's how players are gonna buy in and everything. That's kind of what I heard. Joey, what do you think about the hire, buddy?
So I think it'll be a very interesting locker room if we keep Derek Carr and Kellen Moore as our head coach, because considering the fact that back in 2011 they played each other in college. I don't know that you have very many situations like that. By the way, Kellen Moore beat the brakes off of Derek Carr. Yeah. So, I mean, I like the young direction. He was supposed to be the heir apparent to take the Dallas Cowboys job, and they fumbled that pretty hard.
He got scapegoated by Mike McCarthy.
That's what I mean. Like they fumbled it by saying like, oh, it's his fault. Like
yeah.
Imagine if he comes here and he turns this franchise around and gets us in the right direction. How much that'll be thrown in the face of Cowboys fans everywhere, which will be fantastic if that can happen. Like Shane said, he went in with his own playbook at Boise. I like what I'm hearing, but I'm still waiting to see how the organization around him will help his vision move forward. Because if you're sitting there and you're saying all these things about him, but you have a GM that's incompetent and is going to go against everything you need, then there's no point to him being even here. So hopefully it works.
Well, yeah, I mean that would be retarded to pick a coach that you're just not going to tailor anything to. That's like buying oversized pants. Just be like, screw it, I'm wearing oversized pants. I'm not getting them tailored to fit me. So I have faith that they're not going to be that stupid, but you never know.
There's nothing that will surprise me at this point with this organization.
Well, the thing that I like is, and I think where that's a little bit not as big of a concern to me is if you look at his track record, you go back to Dallas. He changed his playbook many times. You go back to the Chargers. He had to adjust to playing with Justin Herbert and different skill set guys, with bigger skill set guys like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Now, granted, it wasn't the best, but also it was with a lame duck coach and Brandon Staley. The thing that intrigues me is that he goes to Philadelphia, and the rap on him is that, oh man, he's a really pass happy coach. Like he likes to air the ball out. He gets cute every now and then. Now look at this year. He's like, oh wait, I got Saquon Barkley and an offensive line that can move people. Let me throw in a concept that I haven't really shown in my repertoire since I've been an offensive coordinator. So let's run some zone read. Let's run some inside zone runs because I have guys that can get out in that edge and create holes, and a running back that's going to be able to put his foot in the ground and make a move and hit the next gear and just outrun everybody or run somebody over, like you said earlier, Joey. It's the aspect of being able to be a chameleon almost and adjust to your players and accentuate their strengths and hide their weaknesses is what I'm liking. This is what I like to see. And that's something he has shown. And I almost like the fact that he got fired from Dallas. I almost like the fact that he had that experience in Los Angeles, and he's experienced a winning culture in Philadelphia. He is seeing every aspect and can cultivate the pros that he's seen and take those with him and leave the stuff that may have not been the best for him in the past. So I'm very excited for the hire. It is, I like to use the old adage, it's better to be lucky than good for this coaching search because it has looked horrible optics wise. And I'm going to have a little faith here. And I think he can pull, this is a right hire and it's a step in the right direction. Is there anything else y'all want to add about the NFL in any aspect? Because we're going to jump to basketball after this.
I mean, the only thing really left to talk about right now, with the NFL is, the report that we kind of talked about a little bit, in text messages about, there's news going around about the Saints organization and things that, are serious, and we know about those. We're not going to talk about them because this is a sports thing. What's happening with this organization is strictly out of sports. We just want you to know we know about it, and we're just going to leave it at that.
No, I'll talk about it real quick.
Okay.
Because after sitting on it a few days, in the grand scheme of things, it's not illegal. It's not. They weren't being like, "Hey, this is how you do it, and this is how you get away with it." Is it a bad look, and does it kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth that they're associated with trying to help these individuals? Yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, and it's when we talked about it originally, it was very fresh, hit a nerve, everything like that. This isn't going to be a Donald Sterling situation. It looks horrible. I'll give you that. At the end of the day, they were just giving advice on the media thing. Some of the names being left off the list thing is kind of concerning, but I don't know if that wasn't already in motion before the Saints got to it. So, looks horrible. I'm not a fan of it whatsoever. Definitely calmed down a little bit since I first saw it. I do think there needs to be some coming to the table of the Saints and either a very nice donation or retraction of their statements and apology is probably what's in order.
So
that's all I really have to say on it.
Random question. Because from what I've gathered, it's basically like, hey, help them out came from, or like somebody said, hey, I think we should help them out with this, kind of damage control PR. Gail said that would be a great idea. Help them out. And then I don't know who it was within the organization, just went a step beyond from where I think maybe Gail would have been, hey, let's do this.
So you're exactly right in everything you just said, Joey.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that I heard everything. Nothing new came out since the last time I saw.
The issue, no. The issue is that when this all came up back in 2019, 2018 area, the Saints just flat out denied it. They're like, we're not helping them. We're not doing anything, blah, blah, blah. And that's where they basically stuck their foot in their mouth because they had ranking officials trading emails back and forth. That was the main issue. And it just due to the subject matter being so sensitive, it comes across as very bad.
Right.
And that's all. But it doesn't make it right.
No, not at all.
So, Shane, anything you want to add, or you're kind of good in this subject, bud?
Yeah, probably what I want to say doesn't need to be said on air or recorded for any case I'm. Yeah, I have my own personal feelings, and I'll just keep them to myself. I would, before we go on NBA, curious if you felt they got the end of
year awards right. So, offensive rookie of the year, yes. We'll just run through them right now. Offensive rookie of the year, yes. Comeback player of the year, Joe Burrow, I agree with. I mean, the dude played lights out when you're talking about an MVP candidate. Defensive rookie of the year, yes. Defensive player of the year, I think there's some discussion there. I think Surtain was awesome and one of the best defenders in the league. I would have liked Bond to get it, even though it hurts me as a Saints fan. Who else? I know I'm missing a few here. Walter
I got
Payton,
the list
man of the,
coming.
yeah, Walter Payton, man of the year kind of thing. That's not really one I can really judge on. No, because I don't know the extent of his charity work. Kevin O'Connell, coach of the year, agree with. So I guess really the one we're going to talk about is the MVP. I think they got it right this time. It wasn't a clear-cut winner, in my opinion, but I think that Lamar definitely had better stats this year than he did last year when he won it. But it's all conjecture at this point. What do you think about it, Shane?
I guess to me, and it's tough, does the stats always make you the most valuable player to the team? To me, the most valuable player for a team is if you pull that player off, are they going to be sitting close to the result that they got? And I think for Josh Allen, they wouldn't be. Saquon, I don't think they would be, but they are a talented team. They have a lot of Pro Bowlers. And the same with Lamar Jackson. They have a lot of Pro Bowlers. So I think they fed that narrative where, like, Josh Allen, there was only one other Pro Bowler on his team, where the Ravens and the Eagles were stacked with Pro Bowlers. So I don't know if they played that. I get into this debate a lot because people like to say Brady's the greatest of all time with his rings. But then when you go to basketball, no one ever says Will Chamberlain, who has 11. So if it's based on that, or is it always based on that? So that's the fun thing about sports. You can debate a bunch of different things. I do feel the way I look at it, if you pull Josh Allen off that team, they're not the 2 seed this year, and they're not in the AFC Championship. So I think he deserved it. But I also think I would have not been mad with Lamar or Saquon.
Couldn't agree more on that one. Great take. Joey, what you got, bud?
Yeah, I think just the MVP race was just so close. But like Shane said, the most valuable player is the one that if you pull him off the team that he is on, what would be the wins against replace? It's baseball stat, wins against replacement. If somebody replaced him, how many wins would Buffalo have? I don't even think they'd make the playoffs without Josh Allen.
No.
It's, Lamar, you have people in Baltimore that if Lamar went down, hey, we can kind of carry you a little bit with these other stars. If Saquon goes down, hey, we can kind of carry you with these other stars. In Buffalo, you're exposed. So I think they got it right. I saw something where it was like, if you think stats is the thing, it's this. If you think wins is the one, it's this guy. But if you feel bad for somebody for not getting wins or something like that, then it's him. I'm like, no, they need to redefine to everyone what most valuable player is. It's not just, oh, you have the best stats. They got to come out and say most valuable player is ... Yeah,
but that kind of takes the fun out of it, though, right? And
yeah,
it kind of takes the ability of us to talk about it out of it, because if there's just a finite thing of being like, all right, you got to win, we got to have 11 wins and 25 touchdowns.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it should be, oh, this is how many stats you have, this, that, and the other. That they need to come out and say, like, it's basically if you took that player off this season and you put in RG3 as your backup quarterback, would he get the same number of wins? No. Like, it's an all-around award. It's not just stats. It's not just.
I'm just playing devil's advocate with you, though.
No, you're fine.
You take Lamar off that team. Yeah, I understand you got Pro Bowlers and everything like that. You take Lamar off that team, they're barely a wild card team, in my opinion. They have just from the sheer point, and it's the same thing with Buffalo. They have built these teams around those guys and their skill set, and have built the playbook to them. So, like, if Lamar Jackson goes down with an injury at any point in the season, he's out for the year, it's going to be a heavy dose of Derrick Henry, and that's about it. But and that's all I'm saying. I completely agree with y'all that Josh Allen deserves it if we're talking about the most valuable player on their team. I mean, and let's not discount his stats either. The dude did have 12 rushing touchdowns as a quarterback. And I just go to with Josh Allen. There was multiple games where it was like against Detroit, against the Rams. It's like, oh, he's literally just putting them on his back, and he's going to carry them to a victory. So that's where I'm at with it. And I agree with y'all. Just want to throw that in about Lamar. So let's talk some basketball, guys. Y'all ready for that? Because the trade deadline just passed, and good Gotti Almighty, there has been some major moves that have happened. So we'll save the big one for last that we all want to talk about. But I'll run through the other. So there's two that I really want to talk about. One that pertains to the Pelicans, and then the major one that we got to talk about. So the ones I'll talk about right now is De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs is one that I think is going to be very underrated. He is getting two. That's sending
Sorry.
Zach LaVine to. Oh, you're good, buddy. God bless you. They're sending Zach LaVine to the Kings as part of this trade. Multiple first-round picks, but Fox going to play with Wemby is something that I'm super intrigued about. You get an elite-level point guard that can make the clutch plays and take some pressure off of him. Guys, other than the BI and the big trade that I want to save till later, is there any other ones that kind of jumped out to you? That was the one that really jumped out to me.
I mean, the 4-team trade that was the Kyle Kuzma to the Bucks, like that one. I think that one will kind of help that team a little bit. I mean, I was getting a lot of alerts on trade deadline day, and half of them were like, okay, that's just a trade that's made. Okay, that's just a trade. Once that big trade happened, it was like, I'm numb. I can't react to everything.
Well, let's talk about the BI trade first. Brandon Ingram, longtime Pelican, has now been traded to the Toronto Raptors for a first-round pick in 26, a second-round pick, and I'm forgetting the
Bruce Brown and
Bruce
Kelly
Brown.
Olynyk.
Yep, I have it right here. Yep, and I think it's a year too late, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. You're getting something for them. The Pelicans are in rebuild mode. I mean, once Murray goes out with an injury, you're just looking to get assets back. That's all I really have to say on it. Shane, any thoughts on it? Brandon Ingram going to the Raptors?
No, I think it was a year too late as well. I think we could have got more last year, but at least they're starting to try to build some assets up. Like you said, they're not built to win right now, so let's see, what they can maybe do in the future.
Yeah, 100%. Joey, what's your thoughts on it, buddy?
I mean, we're last in the Western Conference, so get something, be ready to build. Hopefully we can win the lottery.
Seriously.
Just at least gets, do something. It's that meme with the thing poking a stick at the Pelicans logo saying do something, and they did something. I did see that CJ and Zion are going to stay for longer than just this year. So,
well, that's the game plan anyway.
You have something to build off of with at least okay, they're staying. Here's where we start. Let's build from that.
Well, this year's been a mulligan. The injuries have just been absolutely insane, as they are every year. But I'm tired of being depressed about talking about Pelicans. Let's talk about the fun, seismic, cataclysmic, ultra trade that happened in the dead of night that I just completely floored me. And that's going to be the trade of Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers, which came out of nowhere for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick in 29, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think that, the trade was wild, but I also think that just the story of how it developed coming out of it has been insane. And I don't feel like I'm the only one that feels that way, right? So let me know, Shane, why don't you take this one first? Let me know your thoughts on when this trade actually happened, your thoughts on it, and then your thoughts on everything that's come out afterwards about the trade.
So I was sleeping when this happened, so I woke up to all the messages. I wouldn't have believed it when they first came across. I love Luka as a player. I do not like the Lakers as a team, but they basically just stole this man from the Dallas Mavericks. That GM for Dallas, the more that comes out, the more idiotic he looks. He's using the old additive. We need defense to get us to move forward. You traded for a guy who is great when he's on the court. He's not been on the court a lot. So you're complaining about a young 25-year-old superstar who you don't think conditioning is great. You trade for an older superstar who is injury prone. So none of this really adds up to me. I think the Lakers got a steal. And that GM should get GM of the year just for pulling this off, because he basically robbed this man from the Mavericks. If you look at some of the other trades that have been made in the past year or two, that the amount of first-round picks, the amount of return you got for people, and then you look at this, it's just like, what happened?
So a little backstory on this one. So the GM for Nico Harrison, I believe his name is. Nico Harrison, and the GM for the Los Angeles Lakers, Rob Pelinka, have played together, have had a long-standing personal relationship. They basically, so Rob Pelinka was Kobe Bryant's agent, and when they were redoing his shoe deal, Nico Harrison's job was pretty much, hey, get this to the finish line and land Kobe Bryant, which he did, and that's where the working relationship started. So apparently, the Mavs have had some trepidation about paying Luka the Supermax. Hey, look, it's a lot of money, $79 million. Apparently, there's some friction about his conditioning, his defensive effort, and things like that. Okay. Not major deals, but, those are the issues that are out there, apparently. Apparently, this deal was originally – the Mavs approached the Lakers about this deal, and originally involved Dalton Connect, multiple first-round picks, Anthony Davis, a haul that they should have got for him, for a guy who's 25, 26 years old and still in the prime of his career. But eventually got talked down in the weeks leading up to it. And one of the conditions was that they had to keep it quiet. Man, it just, to me, this all kind of plays out is that this guy got played by a friend of his. And it's sad and it's kind of funny at the same time. Like, dude, you don't just trade this guy for cents on the dollar. Like, shop him around. Like, get a bidding war against him. You know what I mean? Okay, so the Lakers don't want him. Get somebody else.
This is a Jono trade. It's a Jono trade.
Whoa.
Jono offers you a trade. You almost feel like bad taking it, and you want to give him more back, but you also are trying to compete.
Yeah,
that's fair. Well, hey, that's a good point. Joey, why I ponder that? Your thoughts on it, buddy?
So from what I've heard, Colin Cowherd has said that he's talked to someone who knows Nico Harrison, and that trade, that pressure for that trade came from the top of the Mavs.
The Supermax deal, right?
Probably, more than likely. I know one thing: fans in Dallas are not happy about this trade. So much so that they're sending death threats to the GM, which is absurd and ridiculous.
Honestly, it is absurd. It's just a game.
Like I get the one sense of joy that you have as a basketball fan in Dallas is the Mavericks. There's other sports. There's other things to do. Dallas has a lot of things to do in the area. Go find a way to go do that. Stop being obnoxious fans. Stop giving yourself a bad look.
You can be passionate, but death threats is just it's just a level that doesn't need to go there.
I wouldn't have even said there's passionate, because that's like putting that word next to this.
No, I'm saying that's another level is what I meant to say. I'm
sorry.
If
except the level doesn't go here. It goes all the way down, because it's like you're not a fan if you're doing that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
When I first heard about the trade, I was confused. I'm like, this is a prank. Because I saw it on probably how everyone else saw it, social media. It's like, oh, this happens, like, haha, funny. And then you start to say, Shams reported it. And it's like, ooh, this might be real. And
I got the Shams report first. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's seeing some of the reactions, like O'Shea Jackson Jr. he was doing a podcast, and in middle of recording, he's getting the alert. He's like,
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those moments where it's a like just it stopped the sports world kind of thing. It's like, wait, what? And that's how big of a shocker it actually was. But man, look, I don't want to miss some of the other deals that happened as well. Another big one that happened was Jimmy Butler going to the Warriors and getting a new deal too, which is it's going to pay him $60 million, which is wild to me. Man, don't we all wish we had the job where I could literally just go in and just basically say F my other boss and get offered a better position somewhere else just for being a insubordination? Wild times. Wild times. That's really all I wanted to talk about NBA wise. I wanted to touch on it, but is there anything else y'all want to add or talk about sports wise? Because I'm really kind of out today, guys.
I'll say a couple things about the NBA real quick. If the Luka trade was so good for the Dallas Mavericks, they wouldn't have to refund almost half of their season ticket holders. So I'm sure the ownership that pushed him to do that trade's second guessing themselves. The Spurs continue to be a great organization, and they got Wemby, and they're putting pieces around him to make them competitive. I like that. $121 million for Jimmy Butler is insane.
Dude, right though?
Insane.
When I saw that, I was like, my goodness. I was like, good for Jimmy Butler, though. I mean, good on him. That dude has had a very long career and has been a malcontent. You know who he is? He is the NBA's TO.
That's a good comparison.
You know what?
And with that note, I am on to fantasy baseball, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
speaking of baseball, this was brought up this weekend. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, is getting emails from fans saying that they're concerned over the sport's lack of a salary cap because the Dodgers are basically doing what the Yankees used to do and buy up players. The only difference is they're spending way more money than I think the Yankees ever have. It's getting
let me ask you
insane.
this. Okay. We complain when teams don't reinvest in their product that they're putting on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And the fans have to still pay and show up and support their teams. But then now fans are complaining that certain teams are investing, and I understand it's a drastic amount, but if you don't like it, beat them. Once again, it's you. There's been plenty of teams. The Dodgers did not go undefeated last year. There is a way to beat them, but this has been done. The Yankees used to do it all the time, and you're seeing a lot of the top teams, but you still see teams like Arizona building a strong team through a couple free agent pickups and prospects. You see other teams doing it. You can build a team that the Rays do it all the time. Build a team full of prospects and compete. Then they trade them for more prospects because they don't want to pay the money. They're a small market team.
So I think, and look, full disclosure, Yankees fan here. I think the main thing. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Used to it. I think the issue. I think the issue is, and why it feels a little different and leaves and kind of irks me a little bit, I should say, is that at least when the Yankees did it, they at least wrote the check that year, right? Like it's not like, hey, in 2077, you'll still get paid. It may be your third grandchild by then, but a check will still be mailed to your house. Like that's the crap that aggravates me. Get rid of deferred payments and set a hard cap at the top, or do like the NBA does. Be like, okay, yeah, you want to go into luxury tax, go into it, but now we're going to place even more restrictions on there with the aprons and everything. So, in that way, and you're talking about reinvesting your team, you have to have a salary cap floor as well. Like you must spend $80 million on your salary cap or whatever it's going to be, right? However you want to set it. And look, if a city can't sustain them, you got to move them, or you got to get owners that can sustain that pocket. But that's going to be what's best for the advancement of the game or long-term health of the game.
So just to give you a floor, I guess you could say, or a floor and ceiling. Last season, the total payroll for the New York Mets was $314 million, almost $315 million. Can you tell me the total payroll for the last place team in payroll?
23.6
26.5 million.
$62 million.
Oh,
Now, that's last
it's
season.
a lot higher than
As
that.
of right now for 2025, and we haven't even spring training hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, we say all the time.
As of right now, the Mets are at 301 million. At 302 million. The lowest team is the Miami Marlins at 43.6 million. So when you have that much of a gap in spending, a lot of it is yes. Hey, got a lot of influx of money. I'm going to just spend it. I'm just going to spend it. But then you have these teams that are at the lower level, like we're going to compete with a quarter or less of the budget that the big teams spend. It's like you're not going to compete with that. The Athletics are not
teams
going to
compete.
compete. The
They do have
Athletics
teams compete.
They do, but when's it like who was the last team to win a World Series in a bottom
Rays.
half of spending? No, win a World Series.
The Rays.
The Rays haven't won a
The
World
Rays.
Series.
Yes, they have.
They have won a World Series. But the Diamondbacks had to be up there as well when they just made a
Diamondbacks.
run. So I mean, but I do agree the bigger market
The
teams do have
Tampa
an
Bay
advantage.
Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays have 0 World Series titles.
They've made it to the World Series. Sorry,
They've made it, but there's making it and then there's winning it.
So the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Back in 2001, when deferred payments, when
You just said they couldn't compete. You're telling me you get into the World Series isn't competing?
I said winning. When I said
Well,
they can't
You don't have
compete.
to win it.
Then I said,
You said
when is
competing.
the last time a team has won the World Series
Okay.
in the bottom half of the spending?
But they have those teams competing. Getting to the World Series is still just as good of an accomplishment.
Let's see.
I mean, look, you have examples of Kansas City making it. What they made it? What I know they made it once, and when Madison Bumgarner just went insane that World Series. Maybe
I think
once or
when
twice.
the Giants won, I don't think the Giants payroll was that much.
No, I mean, so you can compete, but it's very, very difficult. Let's call it what it is. I mean, look at
Kansas City was 13th in spending when they won the World Series.
Okay.
What was
That's
the Arizona Diamondbacks?
It doesn't go that far back. The earliest I could get is 2011. Cardinals were 9th. Giants were 7th.
That one
Boston was
surprised me. I
3rd.
think they had a lot.
The Giants again were 7th. Kansas City 13th. Cubs were 5th.
That shocks me. I thought the Cubs were a little higher.
Houston in 2017 was 17th. But they still spent over $135 million.
That's when everybody was young and didn't get paid. But Joey,
Boston was first in 18. 19
I need you to look up.
Was Washington 7th? What?
But I need you to look up. But we have to add in their trash can budget for the 2017 season.
Yes. It
Just
was
saying.
probably around
Too
like
high. It's too
50
high.
grand.
It's too high.
But I mean, that's all I got today, gentlemen. It's been a fun episode. Is there anything else y'all want to touch on?
No.
Yeah, we covered the gambit here, guys. I mean, we've covered all the 3 major sports here. We haven't covered all of them because we are missing out on hockey. Joey, give us a little. How's the Stars doing? They're all right.
Watched the game last night. They lost in overtime in a shootout.
Okay.
I tell you what, this is a team that, if you're a team that's going to face the Stars coming up, you're worried. I do know one thing. I'm excited next week. The NHL, which I think the NBA should do this too. The NHL has replaced their All-Star game with the Four Nations Face-Off, which is basically like a little tournament within the season. I think the NBA should do that. You got enough players from other countries that you could sit there and go, hey, we're going to just have, United States and then pick 3 other countries.
Yeah.
And you have a round robin tournament. You do the final in somewhere, and that's your All-Star game. I think it would be fun.
It'd be interesting how they do it logistically.
I know one
that
thing.
could be fun.
I know one thing. All-Star games as a whole have to change.
Well,
The NHL just changed theirs. I think the NBA needs to change theirs. Major League Baseball is just going to be what it is. I think they could kind of make it a little more fun and entertaining to watch. Football, I think we just got to do away with the Pro Bowl.
it's not bad.
I think
it is what it is
honestly,
at this point.
I think what you do, third place game. Do a third place game, and
Well, what's the incentive though?
you
That's
give
the whole thing.
You give them money.
Yeah, who's paying?
First pick in the draft.
Have you seen
Yeah, right,
the
like-
NFL's budget?
No, I know, Joe, but okay, that's great. That's great. And I'm just gonna. There's a reason why those guys keep that money. It's because they don't just give it out willy nilly. Like that's going to require somebody else paying it or them getting another TV deal. It's just a lot of rigmarole. But I mean,
they're working on
it is what it is.
They're about to start working on a new TV deal. I think it comes up pretty soon. I might be wrong.
It is pretty soon. That's why
So,
it starts.
So I
about
think at
4
that
years.
point,
I think
Once
the
you get that TV
NFL
deal
has
redone-
done a good job adapting the
Yeah,
Pro Bowl
100%.
to at least make it something that's more fun than trying to trot those guys out and have a true game, which is just miserable.
Well, especially when you talk about moving to 18 games too. It's like, look, nobody's going to want to put their body through another meaningless game. So
I don't think they're gonna.
they are.
I almost wonder how you do it. I
Big
think they
L
need to
has-
start. I know one thing. They need to start going the other direction with starting games. They need to stop adding to the end. Start move the regular season forward.
Goodell has come out and said this week that 18 games is pretty much an inevitability. I think what you're going to start seeing is that maybe a bye week before you have to play on Thursday night, and probably a second bye week again in the season. So the season will probably go to 20 weeks. And the issue is going to be is that it's all a cash grab, but you got to stop with the holiday games. You can't have this crap like we did last year of you play Saturday, Wednesday, and Monday of the next week. It's like, dude, just
Oh man, that was fun.
I mean,
That's fun
you're
for the consumer.
You're only going to run into that
consumer, but
problem. You're only going to run into that problem like 3 years, and it's not going to happen for another 3 years, and it's going to happen again.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Like,
So my thing was though, but Shane, you got to admit, those as a consumer, yeah, I love watching more football, but those games were not good. Like some of those games were not good.
I think where you have that second bye week, it'll be built into that.
No.
Like if you play on Christmas, they're going to put say Christmas is on a Wednesday, like it was this year.
I'm just saying.
You're going to have a bye week the week before, and then it's okay. You're going to play on Wednesday, and then that way you won't have this again. They're adding more. They are adding more international games, so they might institute. I fully predict at some point every team will have an international game, and that'll be the extra game.
Yep, 1,000%.
Or you go back to the 8-8 home and away, and they have 2 international games.
No, I'm telling you, it's gonna be one team plays. 2 teams are. You're gonna have 2 international games, but one's gonna consider a home game. One's like you said before. But it's just like you just said. At any rate, I think we can fix the schedule. NFL, give us a shout. We can do it. I believe we have this handled.
I think they need to start in August. That's the biggest thing. Stop moving backwards.
Well, you're just controlling every month is what they're trying to do. But anyway, we digress. We're already pushing up against it. But gentlemen, that was a great episode. We're going to be wrapping it up here. Make sure you stay on the lookout for more Dynasty Doctor, Fantasy 365, ATS, and we got some hockey stuff coming up soon too, and some baseball.
Four Nations Face-Off starts February 12th.
Hell yeah. We'll be back next time with the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. Y'all take it easy, and peace.